Okay, Kevin, my first question is who are you and what is your relationship with the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad?
All right, I'm Kevin Dillard, and I joined the rescue squad as a junior member back in 1975. So I got interested in the rescue squad when I was working in the Boy Scouts, working to get my Eagle Scout rank, and I was working on a first aid merit badge. And one of the members of Fredericksburg Rescue Squad was the instructor, and he helped me along with the merit badge, and that's what spiked my interest in it. So I joined at the age of 15 in the junior rescue squad.
So what did you do as a member of the Junior Rescue Squad? What were you allowed to do?
So first off, it was a huge honor to just be a member of the rescue squad, but the juniors were limited on the types of calls they could run. So we would come down and we took pride in helping wash the ambulances and clean up around the building. And then when the senior members would allow us to go on a call, that was the highlight of the shift. But mainly we were just here to support the rescue squad and help keep things clean and go on calls when they ask us.
Was there a point in time where you were no longer a junior member and you could kind of move up, as it were?
Yes, you had to reach the age of 18, so that was the highlight. Just like wanting to get your driver's license, you look forward to turning 16, get your driver's license. I was looking forward to turning 18 so that I could go out on the calls with one other member. And the month that I turned 18, the rescue squad voted me in as a regular member, and the rest is history.
Did you like doing it?
I loved it. You know, back when I joined the rescue squad, not only was it an honor to be a member, but there was this huge sense of community. Everybody took pride in what they were doing. And, you know, if we went out and ran a call, it was not unusual to be at the grocery store or walking down the street and somebody would walk up to you and say, "Hey, thanks, you helped me out when I was sick," or "You took care of a family member." There was just a lot of appreciation, and that's what motivated me, just people saying thank you.
Tell me a little bit about, for a young person, doing something like this. It's got to be an emotional roller coaster. I mean, you've got great calls that work out real well, and then some that may not.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it was a good learning experience. I always took pride in the fact that I was doing something for the community, and a lot of my friends were, you know, hanging out at the local fast food restaurant or playing basketball or what have you, but I was out helping the community. And I learned early on not to personalize what we were doing. When I would arrive on the scene, I was just focused on taking care of the patient, and because I looked at it that way, that's what helped me, because we definitely had some difficult calls over the years.
Any calls that stand out for good or bad?
I think some of the ones that stand out most to me is we not only served the city of Fredericksburg, but the surrounding counties. So I remember many times when we'd have to respond out to Lake Anna or Stafford Courthouse or out towards Colonial Beach, and I would always think about how long those people would have to wait until help would arrive. So just those calls that were a long distance to get to.
Now, you know, Fredericksburg Rescue Squad is not the only game in town anymore, but I would imagine 40 plus years ago, it was pretty darn near close to being one of the only games in town. So kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Fredericksburg Rescue Squad was one of the first volunteer rescue squads in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and actually in the United States. So the rescue squad movement started in Roanoke, Virginia back in 1928. Julian Stanley Wise founded the Roanoke Life-Saving Crew, and just a few short years after that, Fredericksburg Rescue Squad was established. So while we had a very large coverage area, as the need started arising in other counties, we were very instrumental in helping them get started, whether it be giving them their first ambulance for $1 or teaching EMT classes. But Fredericksburg Rescue Squad has its thumbprints on most of the rescue squads in this area.
So talk a little bit about what it has meant to this community over the, I don't know, decades and decades and decades.
Well, you know, the community has always been very supportive of the rescue squad. They knew that we were all volunteer back then, and it would not be unusual if somebody passed away. When you would open up the Freelance Star and read the obituary, the family would say expressions of sympathy, give a donation to Fredericksburg Rescue Squad. So over the years, we were able to actually get a lot of contributions that way, and it really helped the rescue squad get financially stable. So just the community support has been amazing over the years. And you know, today the landscape has completely changed, and we're not all volunteer anymore. We actually have career staff in place 24/7, but we're very proud of the paid people that we have in place. They're very highly trained, they're doing a great job, and they're filling that void that we could no longer take care of because the call volume started skyrocketing, people's demands on their lives increased, so there was just a need, and the rescue squad knew that we were here to take care of people, and we couldn't do it ourselves anymore, so that's why we asked for the paid personnel. It started off in the beginning, they were working Monday through Friday during the daytime, and we would cover nights and weekends. And today, the career staff cover 24/7, and then we cover them when we can.
You proud of your service?
Oh, very proud of it. I love my association with the rescue squad. The people that I've worked with over the years are like family, and everybody just really looks out for each other.
Let me jump off on family there for a second. You're not the only one who has mentioned that. What made this a family? Or what makes this a family?
Well, first off, not just anybody could get in on the rescue squad. In the early years, you would have to have a supermajority vote to get in. So people were honored to get in, and people took responsibility. So unlike today, if somebody can't come in to a job or to volunteer, they might send an email out and say, I'm not available today, and somebody else needs to take care of it. Well, back in the early years of the rescue squad, not only did we not have email, but that didn't happen. If you were scheduled for a shift, you either covered it and you worked your life around it, or if you absolutely could not cover it, you would find somebody to cover it. So everybody took responsibility. And then that closeness of just working together, covering the shifts in the middle of the night, covering the shifts on the holidays, being here on Christmas Day, all of that just built strong family ties.
So how long did you run calls? Were you ever an officer? I mean, tell me a little bit about, maybe, did you move up in the ranks? Kind of tell me a little bit about your history there.
Yeah, so in my high school and college years, if I was not in school or working part-time at the local giant food store, I was here at the rescue squad. So I ran a lot of calls. So the way it worked is at night we had dedicated crews that would stay here at the building and run calls, and the same thing on the weekend. But during the daytime, we were very limited on help. And I had the ability to work some daytime shifts because I was a college student and I was working part-time at the grocery store. And it was unique the way we covered calls during the day. So I kind of smile when I think about it because we did whatever it took to get the call covered. So if one of us was here at the building and a call came in, it would not be unusual for us to grab the ambulance and go by somebody's place of business, pick them up and go run the call, and then after we drop the patient off at the hospital, take the person back and drop them off at work, pick somebody up at home. And the way we were notified about calls back then, we would have pagers, and they would set a tone off, and the members would come in to run the call. And we also had this very loud horn over top the fire department. And frequently, if people weren't responding with the pager, they would sound this horn, and if you were shopping or anywhere in downtown Fredericksburg, you would hear it, and you would know to report to the rescue squad building. And a lot of people probably don't remember, but the support we got from the community was tremendous in the fact that even the local radio station would help notify us. So if the fire department sounded this horn and maybe nobody responded the second time the horn went off, the radio station, WFLS, they would interrupt their broadcasting and they would sound the horn, and then after the horn sounded, they would say, "Attention all Fredericksburg Rescue Squad members, the horn has sounded." So it was just pretty cool, the sense of community that people had, and everybody wanted to see the rescue squad succeed.
That is a wild story. That's a great story. Nobody's supposed to say it.
Yeah.
Tell me, this, you said, you did what you had to get the calls covered. This isn't like, covering somebody your newspaper shift to deliver a paper. If somebody misses their morning paper, so what? They'll move on. These could be life or death moments.
That's
that
right.
you have to cover. So maybe talk a little bit about that. I mean, was that always in your mind? Hey, somebody's hurt, somebody's sick, somebody may be dying.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can think of personally some times where maybe there was an auto accident and there were some confirmed people that were injured, and we were having trouble finding a second person to go on the call. So I would respond in the ambulance by myself and get on the scene, and then I would get one of the police officers or the firefighters to drive the ambulance, help me load the patient up and drive me to the hospital. So the community always stepped up. I mean, we've even had situations where a tow truck driver would drive the ambulance, whatever it took to get that person treated and safely transported to the hospital.
What do you do now, Kevin, and how is your experience with the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad? informed, I guess, for lack of a better term, how you live your life, do your job, and you just exist.
Well, you know, I was one of the youngest captains of the rescue squad, maybe the youngest at the time. And when I was captain of the rescue squad, I identified a need in the community, and that was we needed a private ambulance service. So there would be times when the local hospital would call us and have a transport going from the hospital back to the nursing home. So we would get in the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad, go to the hospital, get the patient, and as we were transporting the patient to the nursing home, an emergency call would come in. And that heart attack or that auto accident would have to wait until we would get to the nursing home, unload the patient, and then go and respond on the call. So that would cause a delay in response time. So that's how the private ambulances started up in the area. They wanted to fill that need so the volunteer rescue squad could focus on the emergency calls and the private ambulance services could handle the transport calls. So my business partner today, Dan Wildman, he and I were volunteers together here at the rescue squad, and we had one of those calls where we were delayed responding because we were doing a routine transport, and we thought there's got to be a better way. So our plan was to get a couple ambulances and handle the routine calls so that the rescue squad could focus on the emergency calls. And little did we know there was a huge demand for the private ambulance service. So our plan of one day having 5 ambulances has grown into having about 135 ambulances throughout the state.
No kidding.
Yeah. So, and hey, that seed was planted right here at the rescue squad. I mean, we just saw a need in the community, and we had no idea that many other communities throughout the state had the same need. So, and we were very successful as a company at Life Care because a lot of the volunteers came to work for us part-time or even full-time, and they had that sense of commitment to the patient and dedication to the community, and that's what's made us so successful.
Sometimes I'm a genius with the questions that I ask. Walk right into that. Fantastic answer. Steve, what else for Kevin? I mean, is there anything else that you can think of? I mean, you gave me a ton of stuff along with other stuff that these other.
Yeah, well, you know, people take for granted the money that it takes to operate the rescue squad. So I have very fond memories of the fundraising that the rescue squad used to do. So in addition to people leaving money when a loved one would pass away and in their obituary and have the money donated to us, you know, we would get out downtown and hold nets out every October, and as people drove down William Street or Caroline Street, they would drop money in the nets, and then we would have a tape drive where we would actually put masking tape all down the sidewalk, and people would walk by and tape their dollar bills or $5 bills to the tape. So, you know, that was just part of the family atmosphere. As we ran calls together, we ate meals together, we cleaned the vehicles together, we raised money, and when we had to raise the money ourselves, then people took more pride in the equipment. So if somebody damaged something, it was a big deal. And today, you know, maybe not so much because somebody else is paying for it and people don't see how hard you have to work to get that money. But I'm very proud of the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad, and when you look at the people that have served this community as a member of the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad, they're some of the best in Virginia. You look around the walls here at the Rescue Squad and you see we've got 5 of our members that have been recognized with the Virginia Rescue and Life Saving Hall of Fame Award, which is significant. We've had several people that served in state offices with the Rescue Squad Association, and it's just a very quality, top-notch group of people here.
What about you, Steve?
Yeah, when you talk about the squad being kind of family or whatever, are there any other Dillards that have joined this organization?
So, in addition to me, my brother and my nephew both have joined the rescue squad, and both have been very active. And, you know, even though my parents never joined the rescue squad, they were some of that community support. So anytime the rescue squad was doing something, they would be behind the scenes helping out. And that's just another thing that promoted that family atmosphere. Sometimes people weren't officially a member of the rescue squad, but they certainly did help out in any way that they could.
Excellent.
Did we actually get an introduction? Because I don't recall that.
Yes.
Did,
Yeah. Well, with Kevin?
yeah. Did you say I'm Kevin Dillard and
Yeah.
I live?
I think it was, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
Yeah, I can't remember if we did or not. So,
Yeah.
and you know,
You did. I
okay.
remember.
Yeah, one other thing that pops in my mind about Fredericksburg Rescue Squad is the regional specialty teams that we had in place. So we have the regional dive team. So when there was a drowning anywhere in the multiple counties that would surround us, it was the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad that would be called out to handle that situation. And same thing with the extrication. When there was a bad accident, we would have the crash truck that would respond, you know, from the city of Fredericksburg way out into rural Spotsylvania. So many people, even when we started the other rescue squads, when they needed additional help, they would always call Fredericksburg to come help. So Fredericksburg Rescue Squad was always like the parent organization to all these other rescue squads that started.
Excellent. Good point. I got nothing else. You do.
Well, you mentioned after being involved in, you know, state stuff, were you ever an officer in anything with the state association or?
Yeah, so through my leadership opportunities here at the Rescue Squad, I was able to get more involved at the state level and became president of the Virginia Association of Volunteer Rescue Squads. So that was a huge honor. And by me being president of the state association, that also put a very positive light on the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad, because every time I would be introduced anywhere in the state, people would always say Kevin Dillard with Fredericksburg Rescue Squad. And also with my involvement with the Fredericksburg Rescue Squad, I was able to come up with an idea of recognizing EMTs and paramedics that have died in the line of duty. So one of our other Fredericksburg Rescue Squad members was serving as president of the state association at the time, and I was a fairly young individual sitting in a state meeting, and I raised my hand and I asked the president, which was Jack Long, I said, why is it that the fire department has a service that recognizes firefighters that die in the line of duty? Why is it that the police department has a program that recognizes police officers that die in the line of duty, but we have nothing that recognizes EMS personnel? And he gave me this stare and he said, I don't know, but do something about it. So from that came the idea to start the National EMS Memorial Service, and I'm proud to say that I'm the founding member of that, and today, 20-some years later, we've recognized hundreds of paramedics and EMTs nationwide that have died in the line of duty. And that seed was planted right here at Fredericksburg Rescue Squad with the idea.
Good.
That's it?
Anything else, Kevin?
I can't think of anything else.
Fantastic.
Y'all did make it easy, though.
Well, you were